Hi, this is Paauw from Seattle, Washington in the U.S., and I'm so thrilled that I've been invited to help you kick off your training today. First of all, congratulations for being here. Showing up is so important to the success of your business. I'm going to just spend a few minutes to talk about getting back to the basics of building a send out cards business, and I'm specifically going to talk about building a business on a part-time schedule, because probably for most of you in the room today, you are working this part-time. Just a little bit about myself. I started in Send Out Cards in 2005, just celebrated my 9-year anniversary with the company, and when I started out, I was part-time. It wasn't until 2009 that I started working my Send Out Cards business full-time. And when I say full-time, that doesn't necessarily mean 40 hours a week. It just means that that was what I was doing for a living by 2009. I rank advanced to executive by 2007, and I have built a sizable team of about 3,400 distributors worldwide, including a good-sized team in Australia. Today I'm going to talk with you about 3 key ingredients to building a successful business with Send Out Cards. Duplicating the right activities, doing so consistently over time, will build your business. So let's look at each one of those. For duplication, it's really important that you use the third-party tools that are available to you. Some of the tools that are available are the video link, automated gift account walkthroughs, 3-way calls with your upline, the recorded conference calls, business overview meetings, and sending cards. You need to do these things consistently. One thing that I invite you to do that will really help you to build your business is to spend 15 minutes on the phone each day inviting people to look at your business. Inviting and presenting are not the same thing, so 15 minutes just to make those appointments. And then have an appointment 1 a day, 5 days a week, to do a gift account walkthrough and share the business opportunity. If you do that 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, in 4 years you will have shared Send Out Cards and the business opportunity with 1,000 people. You do that and you will have a successful business. So present the opportunity to 1 person a day, 5 days a week. It really is a numbers game. And then give yourself time. Rome wasn't built in a day. You've got to do this over time. And we'll talk about a few tips to help you along the way. But if you build your business consistently over time, you will see much greater results than if you're not consistent. So be consistent in your approach. Now I know that most of you feel very short on time. You have other work that you're doing, you have family obligations, you may have some serious hobbies that are important to you. You need to schedule blocks of time for the following activities. First of all, you need to be sending cards and gifts. You need to be a product of the product. And one great way to economize your time is to start creating campaigns for cards that you find you keep recreating. So identify what those cards are. For me, it was a nice to meet you card. I'd go to networking functions and I'd send a nice to meet you card after the end of that function. So I created a campaign card that has a picture of myself and it's got my contact information in there. And the message itself is not a prefab message. I do write that from scratch for each person, but the rest of the card is pre-created in a campaign, and that saves me a lot of time. Keep your message simple and heartfelt. Don't do a cookie cutter message that people clearly know that you didn't write it to them. So be careful about that when you're doing your campaigns. Second, invite. You need to sort people everywhere you go, and the best way to sort people out is to simply invite them. You're looking for a yes or no. And a great question to ask is, do you keep your options open for looking at additional ways you can earn income? If you don't like that question, come up with another one. There's so many questions you can ask that are inviting questions. The next thing is to present. You need to present our product and our opportunity. And again, use the tools rather than doing all of the talking. We talked about that in the last slide. follow-up is extremely important, and I'm going to go into a little more detail on that in just a moment. And then once you've brought someone on board, you need to train your new customers and distributors. And again, point to the tools and then set up check-ins to confirm that they've done what they said they would watch. There are so many wonderful recorded webinars and tools that will help you to do your training. You don't have to know it all and do it all. And then finally, personal development is very important. So if you are short on time, again, there are many recorded things that you can listen to for personal development, whether they're books on tape or they're Jordan Adler's calls or the corporate calls. All of those calls are recorded. And in most cases, the calls fall during a time that it's not convenient for me to be on the call live. So within 24 hours of that call, I am listening to the recording. And you can do that while you're fixing dinner, while you're driving somewhere, getting dressed, doing the dishes, housework, any of those kinds of things. I love listening while I'm on the treadmill, getting my exercise done. So you don't have to eat into your time blocks for your 1 hour a day if that's all you can do your business development in. Have your personal development time mixed in with other things like exercise or driving. Follow-up is so very important to your success. And in order to do effective follow-up, you need to have a system that reminds you of who to follow up with, when to follow up, and why you need to follow up. Once you have enough people in your pipeline, it starts to get more and more difficult to remember all of these things. So you really do need to have a good system in place. And if you're just getting started, this is the best time to get a system set up, because once you have 100 or so people in your pipeline, you're already behind the 8 ball if you don't have a system in place. Sometimes you need to follow up with people multiple times, and I mean over weeks, months, even years. And you can do that through phone calls, through email, by sending cards. There are lots of different ways to follow up, but you need to consistently follow up and just stay in touch. Even if someone tells you they're not interested, that doesn't mean, unless you don't like the person, if you don't like them, don't stay in touch. But if you like the person, just stay in touch with them and build a relationship. Whether they join the business or become a customer later on, or they become a referral partner for you, it's all good. So just stay in touch. And I know that I found it a little bit awkward to call people over and over and over. So one thing that I learned to do was to add something to the end of my message that made it much easier for me to call them multiple times. So I say something like this. If I've set up a gift account for them, I'll follow up by saying something like, your gift account is going to expire. I'm calling to see if you know what you'd like to do, or if you need more time. You can reach me at this number, and I'll also keep trying to reach you. Now, by adding that last part, it makes it so much easier for me to keep calling them once a week or so and checking in, because I'm telling them I'm going to keep trying. And if they want to stop my phone calls, a great way to do that is to call me back. And they know that I'm serious, because when I say I'm going to keep trying, I do keep trying. So if you say that, you need to keep trying. And in order to keep trying, you probably need to put a reminder in your system to keep doing that, because otherwise you'll forget. As I've been talking about all this follow-up, you might be saying to yourself, well, how do I ever find the time for all that? Well, the reality is that you're never going to find the time. You must make the time for whatever is important to you. Now, I can't tell you what's important to you. You're the only one who can determine that. If you've determined that building residual income, building your send-out cards business is important to you, then I invite you to make the time for just a few activities, at least an hour a day, at least 5 days a week, to build your send-out cards business. If you're only going to work an hour a day, and for some of you, you'll be able to work much more than that, but if all you have is an hour a day, I invite you to really take a look at what kinds of activities you're doing. Are you busy being busy? Are you rearranging papers on your desk and getting organized and doing everything but the business building activities? If so, you really can't blame the system for not working, because you're not working the system. The system that we have in place, I just covered those few things that we need to do that are known business building activities. And whether you have 3 or 4 hours a week or 30 or 40 hours a week to put toward your business, the activities are exactly the same. The only difference is how much of it you do. So again, the activities that are business building activities are inviting, presenting, following up, and training. And that's it. In closing, I'd like to share with you the #1 common thread that I've found among all successful network marketing professionals. There's one thing in common no matter what company they're with. They don't give up. So what do you need to do to keep going? First of all, you need to have a compelling why. You need to know why you're doing this business. And if it's not the why that makes you cry, you need to keep digging, because we all have a compelling why. And if you haven't figured out what that is, I invite you to do that. And create some I am statements that you read daily that help you to remember your why. The personal development is very important. You need to reduce that stinkin' thinking. And the best way that I know to do that is to do the personal development work. It's also very important that you let go of your attachment to the outcome as you're talking with people. If you're attached to them deciding to join your business or become a customer, then you're going to scare people away. So you've really got to be detached from that. It's your job to share, it's their job to decide. And as long as you're sharing, you've done your work. Desperation really does kill opportunities. So have other reliable income while you're building your business. It's not really fair to rely on send out cards to support you and your family right out of the gate. So do other things to pay the bills while you're building your business. And you'll have a lot more fun doing it. You'll be much more successful. And it'll be a lot easier to not be attached to people's decisions if you're taking care of your financial needs in other ways. And then last but not least, I really encourage you to get an accountability partner so that at least one other person knows what your intentions are daily and whether or not you're doing them. It's a lot harder to not keep your word to yourself when somebody else knows what that is. So find somebody that you can trust, that you can work with, and you support them and they support you, and it works really, really well. So with that, I hope you have a wonderful training today, and thanks for listening.